We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight. And this evening, we discuss the queer headlines. Juneteenth commemorates the union's enforcement of the end of slavery in Texas, marking a crucial step towards national emancipation.
Anderson Lee Aldrich has been sentenced for the hate-fueled massacre at the LGBTQ+ nightclub in Colorado Springs in 2022.
LGBTQ+ America wonders if Biden's debate strategy against Trump is sound.
Queer slang, or lavender language, has a rich history of empowerment and solidarity, transcending borders and shaping pop culture.
Melania Trump strengthens bonds with log cabin Republicans while maintaining distance from her husband.
Indian River County School Board's decision to ban this book sparks debate over censorship motives and educational freedom.
Good evening. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon, Fire TV, Twitch, YouTube, and even that Facebook. It's time to queer up the news, Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens, unique in LGBTQ+ news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ+ community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our queer culture, the Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, student youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ+ and broader community.
Let's meet tonight's anchors at this Negro Roundtable on Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor FayWhat. She is a radio and television personality and is the host of the FayWhat Show, the first LGBTQ+ morning program, Mondays at 9 a.m. and then on demand on all streaming and social media platforms. She's also a hostess and MC for many South Florida events. Faye, Flockfest Beach Party Week is starting July 4th to July 7th. You are hosting the Flockfest Beach Party on July 6th. Tell me, what's happening?
Yes, so join me as I host the 9th annual Flockfest Beach Party presented by the Crown and Anchor on Fort Lauderdale Beach on July 6th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. International DJ Deanne will be spinning live, and she's freaking awesome. We'll be on Fort Lauderdale Beach, 1100 Seabreeze Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale for a spectacular day of fun. Flockfest is all about coming together and enjoying everything under the sun and everything that South Florida has to offer. And you make a difference in our community all at the same time. So go get your VIP ticket. Your VIP ticket includes entry to the event, refreshing beverages, a food voucher, and access to the Flockfest Flamingo floats. It's only a couple hundred blown up already for you, all right? And you also receive a free gift bag with exclusive Flockfest swag in it. So there's going to be a collection of food trucks to choose from also, all right? So want to make a bigger splash? Add on a cabana for 10 people that includes all of the above. Plus the cabana, yours to decorate, all right? And you might even walk away with the Flockfest Award for Best Cabana. So go get your tickets right now at flockfest.org and see you July 6th.
I take it it's in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Just want to hammer that point home. Let's welcome Mark Pettitt. Mark is a pioneering traveler and coordinated the very first gay pride parade ever on the continent of Antarctica. He is also a former Mr. Sawmill Leather, sir. He and his husband Luke run linksbyluke.com. I'm a big fan. The chainmail harness and pride accessory shop. Mark, the new Equality Park After Dark Market will be held next month on July 18th at the newly renovated plaza at Equality Park. Tell me, what's happening?
Well, this is a monthly affair. There is actually one tomorrow, but the one that we're going to be at is on the 18th. They set it up right in Equality Park. Some of the best vendors around and artisans selling their crafts and wares. So if you want to let your freak flag fly a little bit, come on. We probably have your version of it at Equality Park.
Mm-hmm. And you better let that freak fly your flag.
He does.
Now, let's welcome anchor Maxx Fenning. At 17, he formed the nonprofit Prism to promote LGBTQ+ inclusive education and make sexual health resources accessible to youth in South Florida. He just graduated from the University of Florida. He was selected as Out South Florida Person of the Year. Hi, Max.
Hello, happy to be here as always. Happy to be here during Pride Month. Unfortunately, I didn't give them my event info in time for this broadcast, but don't worry, because if you think I'm not booked and busy, you are mistaken. I will be sharing that later in this broadcast. Thank you.
You better work. It's also Juneteenth. I don't know if you...
That's how you know it's live.
It surely is. Next up, let's welcome Cindy Brown. Woo. Cindy was an early organizer of the Miami AIDS Walk and the White Party for Care Resource. She's the programs director for the Lambda Living program at Jewish Community Services, and she also served as the executive director of the MDG LCC Foundation. Welcome, Cindy.
Well, thank you. And I have to say, I had a blast with you on Saturday. In the It's Happening Out booth. Man, let me tell you, Bonnie was
serving.
Banging.
Serving.
That's how you say it. Serving.
And I made
Serving it,
sure
baby.
to photobomb many of the photos.
She
Everybody
surely
wanted a picture with Bonnie on Saturday.
Well, did you see what she had on?
Of course I
Not much.
did.
Nothing.
Not much. And still ate it, honey.
And
yeah.
amazing. And of course, this is tonight's lead anchor, Bonnie Builder. She's the premier South Florida bodybuilding drag queen and the current reigning Mixed Marys. A recent graduate of FIU, Bonnie Builder is a trainer and comes to life with a microphone and a spotlight. Bonnie, you're going to be attending the Ultra Ball by Hypertension on June 28th. Tell us what's happening.
So, on June 28th, it's the Hypertension Ball. Here you see the poster with my beautiful drag mother, Katya Intention. We are having a Pokemon-themed drag show. So if you're a nerd and a queer, this is your avenue. You need to go to my Instagram, Bonnie Builder on Instagram, and find the link, and you will be able to purchase a ticket from there. This is, once again, June 28th. It is the Hypertension event you do not want to miss. Go to the Ultra Ball if you love some gay-ass Pokemon Hanny, which I bet you do. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. Today is Juneteenth. Now first, this evening, let's queer up Black culture. It's Juneteenth once again, and slavery ends 2 years after slavery ends. It goes by many names: Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, or the country's second Independence Day. Juneteenth is one of the most pivotal anniversaries in American history. On June 19th, 1865, Major General Gordon Granger led Union soldiers to Galveston, Texas, delivering a crucial message. The Civil War had ended, the Union had triumphed, and slavery was to be abolished. This announcement came 2 months after the Civil War effectively concluded and over 2 years since President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. However, many enslaved Black people in Texas were still not free. About 250,000 slaves remained in bondage, as slave owners often refused to release them until forced by government representatives. Historian Henry Louis Gates Jr. noted that some owners delayed emancipation until after a final harvest or outright refused to comply. The situation was perilous for Black people, with some freed individuals being attacked or killed. Confederate states, particularly Texas, exhibited a strong desire to preserve slavery as long as possible. As explained by historian Rebecca Walsh, before Granger's arrival, many slave owners ignored the Emancipation Proclamation as Union forces lacked the power to enforce it in the South. Although slavery wasn't abolished nationwide until the 13th Amendment's ratification, the Emancipation Proclamation was a significant step. Historian Lonnie Bunch emphasized its role in initiating the federal government's commitment to ending slavery. Juneteenth commemorates the landmark event celebrating the journey towards freedom and equality. Now, I will be very, very honest, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. I was not aware of this event until 2020. So the tragic shooting that happened in 2020 that set off a lot of riots and protests at that time is when I actually learned about what Juneteenth was and what it meant. I later learned that apparently Juneteenth was being celebrated in the Black community years, like in the 90s, 80s, all that good stuff, but I didn't learn it until like 4 years ago, which is wild because the education system failed me. I didn't learn about this in school, and y'all should have taught my ass what Juneteenth was way back when. So this is y'all fault.
Listen, Bonnie's not wrong, okay? So, the U.S. started observing Juneteenth in 2021. That was done by President Biden. We say thank you for doing that. The first observance was back in 1980, and it was only in Texas. They were the first state to make it official state, a celebration, right? A holiday for the state, right? This is a day for people to learn from mistakes, I think that this is a day like Republicans and right-wing people, right? And you freaking colonizers, state of mind people, you know who you are. This is a day to learn from our mistakes and understand that until we're all free, we're not free.
That's
and,
right.
That even with the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment, Black people are still not free in this country. And I think that those of us who can speak up should speak up. And you're absolutely right, Bonnie. It's horrible that we weren't taught about Juneteenth in school. And here in the state of Florida, let's see if that's going to ever happen.
Right. The fact that I had to learn about it from a tragedy is really, really sad.
Right.
Because our schools will teach us that slavery ended with the Emancipation Proclamation.
And that's it.
Racism ended with the Civil Rights.
And that's it. Yeah, that's it. And then everybody was free, and we were a happy country.
And Martin Luther King gave his speech, and then we were all
right.
If you think about history in school, I mean, at least public school in Jersey, right? The only thing they taught us about Black history was Martin Luther King. Like that was it, right? Martin Luther King, that's it. We celebrate him. That's it. Right.
Well, and I think this is one of the best things that we can absolutely do on Juneteenth.
Exactly.
It's just to sit around and talk about it and get educated on it, not use kind of pieces of Black culture, appropriate them to do certain parties or things like that. Just listen, get educated, and if you're invited, tag along.
I'm taking Mark actually today to an event for Juneteenth. We're going to No Manners, and they're going to have an incredible panel, right? Talking exactly these topics, right? Why don't we talk more about Black history? Why are white people afraid to talk about Black history? I've had people come up to me, okay? Obviously, I'm not Black presenting. I'm 12% Nigerian. Nobody knows that it is what it is, all right? But people come up to me and say, what can I do for Juneteenth? Go ask somebody who's Black what you can do for them for Juneteenth. That's what you should be asking. And there's a list of events that you can go and partake at today.
Yeah.
And also, I will say, one of the best ways you can honor Juneteenth, and not just today, but everybody, is to support Black-owned businesses. Support Black-owned businesses. Many very successful Black people in our history had their success and their wealth and their land ripped away from them. And we should always support Black-owned businesses. I do it every opportunity I can get.
That is true. As a walking Black-owned business, my Cash App is $Bonnie Builder.
Reparations. Come on.
Hello.
Reparations.
Now, I will throw in a last bit of how a holiday like this is great to celebrate. It's sad that a lot of holidays like this come from such tragic moments. Right. Martin Luther King, we know him because of what he did, but also his story ended very tragically. Yeah. Right. So celebrate, be proud to all my Black folk. I love you. I appreciate you. I am you. I walk with you. I hear you. I understand you. I know that there's a lot of trauma that we're dealing with that was dropped down to us from our ancestors. So just walk with grace, give yourself grace and peace of mind. I know we're still dealing with legislation that doesn't treat us correctly because of the color of our skin, because of our background. We will continue to fight. We cannot stop fighting, but amongst the fighting, we also have to give ourselves grace and learn to have peace within ourselves. Love yourself, forgive yourself, and let's continue to walk together.
Awesome. You rock,
part.
Bonnie.
I know I do. Next, let's queer up social justice. Club Q shooter receives 55 life sentences for hate-fueled massacre. Anderson Lee Aldrich, the individual responsible for the tragic mass shooting at Club Q in November 2022, has been handed a monumental sentence, marking a significant step towards justice for the victims and their families. In a decisive ruling, Aldrich received 55 concurrent life sentences to be served consecutively with an additional 190 years in prison. This sentencing comes after Aldrich pleaded guilty to 74 hate crimes and firearms charges linked to the harrowing events of November 19, 2022. While the plea deal spared Aldrich from the death penalty, it came with a sobering admission. The attack was motivated, at least in part, by the actual or perceived sexual orientation and gender identity of the victims. This acknowledgement underscores the gravity of hate-fueled violence and discrimination that still plagues our society. It draws attention to the intersection of gun control and LGBTQ+ hate crimes. Prosecutors revealed that Aldrich meticulously planned the assault on Club Q, a cherished haven for the local queer community. The nightclub, located in an area historically associated with anti-LGBTQ+ sentiments, was deliberately targeted as a symbol of defiance against inclusivity and acceptance. During the trial, Aldrich's defense cited substance abuse as a contributing factor, alleging that the shooter's mental state was compromised by cocaine and medication before the rampage. However, this explanation did little to mitigate the severity of the crimes committed. After sentencing, U.S. Attorney General Merrick B. Garland reaffirmed the Justice Department's unwavering commitment to safeguarding the rights of every individual, emphasizing the need to eradicate hate-fueled violence and discrimination. Now, let me tell you something. This was a tragic event. I hope this man rots in jail. I have particular feelings about the death penalty, but I think at some point you need to learn your lesson and be confronted with the tragedies that you implemented on that day. It harkens back to the Pulse nightclub shooting when that happened. Right. I remember I was working in nightlife at that time, and I literally couldn't go to work when that happened. So the fact that you would just contribute to this fear monster that is already thriving in our queer community, you can actually go to hell. I don't care what medications, what drugs you're on. I know a lot of people that be on cocaine and don't be hurting nobody but themselves. Right. So you should just stay at home and mind your business, sir.
Listen, let me tell you something. This guy is a piece of shit. Yes. Okay, and I will say that instead of saying POS, he is a complete piece of shit. I remember when he was apprehended and then they were going to start putting the case against him, he tried to say that it wasn't a hate crime because he was part of our community. He said he was non-binary. Bullshit. Okay, you can start your own little group with Caitlyn Jenner and go on your way. All right? You are not part of our community. And so that was your defense. The defense was he blamed childhood trauma. Who doesn't have childhood trauma? All right? He blamed abusive moms. You should talk to my Colombian mom. All right? He blamed online extremism. How much time? Thank you, Bonnie.
Hello.
Drugs and access to guns. That right there is Florida in a nutshell.
Welcome to my weekend.
Right.
Except he was in Colorado. Colorado, right?
Colorado Springs, and that was their defense. Okay, and your defense failed, and it's ridiculous. And like Bonnie said, I prefer you not to get a shot and go to sleep and never wake up. I want you to just live in jail for fucking ever and
general population,
and have people treat you like the scum that you are.
Right.
Okay, that's what I hope happens.
Yeah. Put him in general pop and,
watch him get popped.
Again and again. I mean, I agree. He's a.
And I think that this is so interesting that it does come this close to the Pulse anniversary, which was literally
last week,
just last week.
Yeah. Right.
And I think we really need to focus on how we can remember all of those people and really keep them alive. I think you guys all know I have the names of every single victim of Pulse going up and down my legs.
Wow.
And it's the only thing that I can do to keep from being just so angry at what's going on is to focus on being a remembrance for them. So let's just keep them alive every single year we can.
Yeah.
And also honor them with action. There was after the tragic shooting at Stoneman Douglas, right? Our state passed insanely comprehensive gun reform legislation in the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act, and they are trying to undo that progress and undo that work. Just earlier this year, they tried to pass a bill that would have lowered the legal age to purchase a firearm from 21 back to 18. Look, I spoke in that committee, got dragged out in the middle of my speech,
right?
And guess what? That bill failed alongside almost all of the anti-LGBT bills that were introduced this year as well. And so it's important that we remain vigilant, that we do not allow the pendulum to swing back in favor of a world where you can get a gun at a Walmart and kill countless people and lead to the loss of so many innocent lives. So honor them with action.
That is true.
Right.
Now, my throat is dry. So, Mark, how about you take the next story?
Well, next, let's queer up politics. LGBTQ plus community fears that Biden could crash and burn in the debate with Trump. In anticipation of the forthcoming showdown between President Joe Biden and his formidable opponent, former President Donald Trump, political veteran and LGBTQ plus rights advocate Peter Rosenstein offers a strategic roadmap for Biden's debate performance. Rosenstein underscores the urgency of the moment, emphasizing that the upcoming debate on June 27th is not just a clash of personalities, but a critical juncture for this nation's future. It's the earliest presidential debate in American history. Rosenstein acknowledges the familiar repertoire of insults expected from Trump, but challenges Biden to deliver lines that will captivate the audience with humor while driving home poignant messages. Central to Rosenstein's analysis is the alarming trajectory of Trump's legacy, particularly his administration's efforts to expand presidential powers, as revealed by former budget director Russ Vought's recent maneuvers. Rosenstein pulls no punches in his characterization of Trump, labeling him with a litany of damning descriptors. However, Rosenstein acknowledges that Biden must tread carefully. He suggests Biden confront Trump head-on, questioning the veracity of his claims. Rosenstein implores Biden to pivot to substantive issues, ranging from the economy and immigration and foreign policy. He urges Biden to speak directly to key demographics, outlining the stakes of the election for African Americans, Latinos, women, the LGBTQ plus community, and young people. Rosenstein's article for the Washington Blade, an LGBTQ plus newspaper, serves as a rallying cry, urging Americans to confront the looming threat posed by Trump and his supporters. He advises Americans to recognize misinformation and recognize the gravity of the choice before them. LGBTQ plus America has never seen a presidential debate like we're going to watch. A 78-year-old will debate an even older 81-year-old, and literally LGBTQ plus rights and perhaps our model of democracy hangs in the balance. I love his recommendations for Biden, and I'm also really excited about this new mute feature in the debate, which I think we have all been like praying for and wishing for, and some of us even just did manually during the actual debates, and that is supposedly going to happen. My fear, though, is Trump is not going to play by the rules.
Never.
He's going to shout to the point where it can be heard on the other microphone. He's going to threaten to storm off. It's like having an argument with a 3-year-old that just goes down on the floor and starts pounding. So I think that these recommendations are great, but they're also kind of presuming a fair fight going in, which I think may be a little bit naive.
Let's give Biden a little more credit.
Exactly,
let's give Biden and his team a little bit more credit. This is not their first go around with Trump. We all know that Trump is a freaking bully. He does not play fair, and the mute button will be a great addition. I think it also stands with the moderator. It's so important to be a good moderator. Right. Everybody thinks they can host. It's not easy. No, okay, to wrangle cats together sometimes. All right, it's not an easy thing. But there's this. Okay, Biden's people, the speech writers, right? He's got to get some new ones. Hire the girl from Hacks. I don't know, right? But get some new zingers. You need zingers to get him, Biden. Those zingers that the whole crowd will go,
except
that's
no
what Biden
crowd.
Needs,
There will be no audience.
No audience, but that would do that, to the people at home. That is what he's going to have to get them where it hurts. And they're going to have to be zingers because that man doesn't play fair. He doesn't.
I watched the 2020 debate on a first date across the living room on a 27-inch computer monitor that this boy tried to pass off as a TV. First of all, I'm not single. Excuse me.
The guy finally said yes. Okay. He stopped denying him. Got it.
But honestly, I think that with the homeless man across the street playing the trumpet really poorly and loudly, that's the optimal way to watch one of these persons. It's an absolute mess anyway. And maybe a few drinks in. I think I'm going to do a drinking game with it, and that'll get me through.
I do think the fact, though, that there is no audience will be beneficial to Biden because Trump feeds off of that. He feeds off of the response of people. Yeah. Whether it's good or bad, he'll, it'll energize him. But, I do think that this strategy is a good one. Mm-hmm. And focusing, if he can really focus on things that are important to people, while Trump makes stupid comments about
inflation is real, right?
Exactly.
Car insurance is real. Like mortgages, interest have gone up. Homeowners insurance are beyond, especially in Florida. There's so many things that he can target. LGBTQ plus rights, Black history. We can go on and on and on.
Right. Exactly. So hopefully, I'm pulling for Joe to come out on top. But.
Yeah, I'm excited to see two old white gay men. Not gay men. Are they gay? I don't know. It doesn't know my business. I'm excited to see two old white men.
Float off the tongue, though. You were saying, I know
right?
Maybe I know some tea.
You know how everybody's always saying that like Biden is so old. He's only 2 or 3 years older than Trump, right? It's not even that big of a difference. But it's still two old white men fighting.
Absolutely.
I got you. Next, let's queer up gay culture. Celebrating the vibrant tapestry of queer slang. Here's the tea, baby. In the ever-evolving landscape of language and culture, the influence of queer identity shines brightly. From the vibrant melodies of Taylor Swift songs to the witty banter of YouTube sensations ABBA and Preach. Queer slang has firmly entrenched itself in today's society, transcending boundaries of race, orientation, and geography. It deserves a closer look. Dating back centuries, queer slang, affectionately known as lavender language, has woven its way through history, providing a means of communication for marginalized communities. From the clandestine whispers of Polari to the colorful expressions of Gale, queer slang has always been a tool of empowerment and solidarity. How can we miss the flamboyant ballrooms of 1980s New York City, where the colorful tapestry of sword speak emerged, blending Tagalog, English, and the names of celebrities into a new language? This was captured beautifully in Ryan Murphy's TV show Pose. TV critics suggested that the spoken language of Pose was actually a character in the show. While these languages may differ in origin and form, they share a common thread: their genesis as a means of identification and connection within the queer community. As the world celebrates Pride Month, it's a poignant reminder of the enduring impact queer culture has had on shaping not only language, but also pop culture at large. In a society still grappling with issues of acceptance and equality, the celebration and recognition of queer language serve as a beacon of hope and progress. It's a testament to the resilience and creativity of community that has fought tirelessly for visibility and representation. Most important of all, it is uniquely part of our LGBTQ plus culture. So talk about the tea, right? But there's, we have so much queer slang now that it's kind of crossed over where straight people use it so much, so we forget that it's queer slang, right?
They appropriate.
Just saying you pass, right? You pass means that you pass as a straight person, right? That straight people wouldn't know that, right? Or you read somebody, you tell somebody off, right? Or you give somebody shade. You might give them a side eye, or you ain't talking to them today, A diaper dyke might be a new dyke, right? She just came out. Or an LUG, a lesbian until graduation. That's one of my favorite. That was one of my favorites in college. You know Candy. Anyway, so Candy was my friend. She was in a dorm adjacent to mine, and she was only gay during college. Like she said, once college was over, she was done. She was going to find a man and get married. Later to the story, she ended up finding Lauren, and they ended up being together, and they're still together. Happy anniversary, bitches. But, so queer slang is just everywhere, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's how maybe we began to communicate when we weren't out and weren't able to be so out like we are now. And now it's kind of part of pop culture and part of straight people's worlds also.
Well, that is, my husband is from the UK and was actually familiar with this Polari, which is when they're just putting together words from different languages to kind of speak a little bit undercover. Very popular in the 60s in the UK. And I didn't realize like 2 big terms that we use are from there, like calling a young guy chicken, that's Polari, and calling a guy trade. I thought that was ours. I thought that was American, but
you would.
So Americanocentric, I know. But it's actually from British closeted men that would work in the trade industry that would be either paid or compensated for their time with wealthier, more out gays. I think it's absolutely fascinating to understand our language like this.
I know I was gagged the first time on television I saw straight people use, the first time I saw straight people use shady. It's a very specific reference. I was watching the Real World season like 14 reunion, and one character was like, "You were being shady when you said this in the press." I'm like, how the fuck you know about shady? Where the fuck y'all learned that from? Now, there is a strict line between gay slang and gay internet slang, because it doesn't always translate. Like when all the kids were using wig, I didn't know what the fuck that was about. And then Katy Perry used it on American Idol, and it made even less sense. So
wig? Did you say wig?
Confused now. Like my eyes
Isn't that what's on your head?
No, girl.
No, that's all natural.
Right, I just combed it out, put it in the updo.
So what is wig? You gonna leave us on that?
I don't know either.
No, but also because it's Juneteenth, we also have to recognize that half of queer slang is actually just black slang.
Exactly.
Black slang becomes gay slang, becomes like white woman slang, and that's just
marginalized becomes marginalized slang.
That's the progression. But I think what's really, really interesting when we talk about like straight people using queer slang, we keep talking about Polari. I was actually looking a little bit deeper into Polari for a TikTok video that I made, and just like earlier this week, and I discovered that zhuzh is from Polari, which I was not aware of. I mean, I grew up with like my mom would say zhuzh it up like all the time, and like she doesn't go to drag bars.
And then Jasmine Masters just made it like her thing.
That just goes to show, the queer people come in, and even neighborhoods, we come in, we make them nice, and then people
That's called gentrification. There's the word.
and then they open up the smoothie shops, and then they raise the rent 3 times.
No, cities like they stole our language.
Exactly. They stole our language. Some of my favorites, and I used this back in the 80s and 90s, is beard.
That's a good one.
Going to the office party with my boyfriend here, who was my beard.
Oh, I was used as a beard so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Child, I had a beard. I thought she was a lesbian, honestly. I also dated a lesbian. Look at us. All 3 of us dated a lesbian.
Yeah, and a baby dyke. I was a baby butch. I was a baby butch. Now that I'm an old lady, I don't know. I can't be a baby butch anymore. Am I like a...
What do you want to be? Dinosaur butch?
OG butch. Dinosaur dyke.
We just created gay slang right here.
There you go.
Just like that, honey.
Although I don't know how many other older folks would accept the dinosaur, but I think it's fun.
I don't think I'm allowed to use the word, and I just
listen. And then when you start looking for older ladies, it's dinosaur diving, right?
Yeah, that's good.
It's called carbon dating. All right, Cindy, what's next?
Let's clear up politics. From gay slang to Melania Trump deepens ties with log cabin Republicans amid husband's legal woes. Former First Lady Melania Trump is once again in the spotlight, this time for her increasing involvement with the Log Cabin Republicans, a conservative LGBTQ+ group. Despite her husband's legal troubles and her own relatively low profile, Melania's connections with the organization have taken center stage. In April, Melania emerged from relative seclusion to headline an event at Mar-a-Lago for the Log Cabin Republicans. Now, Politico reports that she's slated to host another fundraiser for the group in July at Trump Tower, which attendees asked to contribute $100,000 each. Melania's affinity for the Log Cabin Republicans is evident in the fact that she's their biggest fundraising partner to date. Her commitment was further recognized 3 years ago when she was honored at Mar-a-Lago during a special dinner. While Melania's involvement with the organization is clear, it remains unclear whether she is financially compensated for her appearances. Reports suggest Melania earned over $1.2 million in speaking fees in 2023, and her current rate for a speech is around $155,000. However, Melania has remained mostly silent about her stance on her husband Trump's political career and aspirations. Unlike her stepdaughter, Ivanka, who recently wished her father a happy 78th birthday and is reportedly considering a more active role in his re-election campaign, Melania has kept a distance.
Thank you so much for your kind introduction and beautiful words. Good evening. So great to see so many familiar faces here tonight. It is an honor and a privilege to be in your presence once again, surrounded by friends and allies who share the common goal of promoting equality for all.
Well, once again, I am totally confused why log cabin Republicans even exist. And it's beyond me that a self-respecting LGBTQ plus person could support the Republican Party with their platform. It's just beyond me.
There's some less self-loathing there, Cindy.
Oh, yes.
I think this is a very smart move on her part. I think that she is setting up her contacts ahead of time to set up her own little escape plan, her own little Melania Underground Railway. She's got some good gay friends that can get her some new clothes, get her on a bus, get the visa to go into Canada. She's just setting it all up ahead of time. But I agree with you in terms of not understanding the reasoning. They're holding on to Abraham Lincoln's kind of log cabin values. You know, we don't want the government in our lives. We should be able to do what we want to do. But I don't think log cabin Republicans make the connection that the Republican Party has not been about those values for a really long time.
Yeah, what were the log cabin Republicans in Florida opposing DeSantis's full control, talking about the government not having power? They're saying what you can read and not read. It's ridiculous.
Also, some of y'all might not have heard the other tea on Lincoln, but it will blow your mind. I just want to harken us back.
Okay, the teas. Right. Just edging us.
I also just want to harken us back to my favorite tweet to have ever graced the internet, or one of my favorite tweets to have ever graced the internet. I never thought leopards would eat my face. Stops woman who voted for the leopards eating people's faces party.
That's
exactly.
So funny.
Yeah.
I forgot what she sounded like until the video, right? Because it's been so damn long, right? Hello. But think about it. Okay, but think about it. I would, but think about it. She's onto something. I would rather hang out with the log cabin Republicans than her husband, right?
Blink
if
twice,
you had
girl.
to choose,
Blink
right?
Twice, girl.
Blink twice.
She's not as dim as she looks, and she looks really dim. So we got to give her a little bit of credit. I wish I got paid $1 million just to talk my shit.
Right.
Shit, I'd be doing it for free. So maybe she's the smart one, and I'm the dumb bitch.
All right, well, next let's queer of South Florida and Florida. Florida school board sparked controversy by banning books about banning books. In a move that has captured global attention, the Indian River County School Board on Florida's East Coast has ignited controversy by voting 3-2 to ban a seemingly ironic title, Ban This Book. The decision, labeled by some as a perfect example of Florida's educational peculiarities, has raised eyebrows and sparked debate. The book in question, Ban This Book, penned by author Amy Ann Ollinger, tells the story of a spirited 9-year-old girl who rebels against book censorship in her school by creating a secret library in her locker. Part comedy, part social commentary, the book has been praised for its celebration of the power of literature and children's ability to affect change. However, for some members of the Indian River County School Board, the book was unsuitable, with one member calling it, quote, liberal Marxist propaganda, end quote. Can't make this stuff up. This remark has prompted calls for a closer examination of the motives behind the ban. Critics have pointed out that much of the censorship appears to stem from the objections of a single individual, a parent associated with the group Moms for Liberty, shocker, who has also campaigned against works by renowned authors such as Toni Morrison and Kurt Vonnegut. The fact that even Anne Frank's diary was not spared from objections has raised concerns about the extent of the censorship agenda. Against such a grim backdrop, Scott Maxwell, writing for the Sun-Sentinel, has pleaded with Floridians to, quote, stop electing idiots. Specifically, stop electing into school boards, end quote. Florida continues to be a difficult place to explain to the rest of the worldwide LGBTQ plus community. Under Ron DeSantis' leadership, banning Ban This Book continues to demonstrate we are the land of Florida. Look, it's absolutely ridiculous that Florida is #1 in book bans, to the point where Ron DeSantis himself has had to get in front of a podium for another one of his little press conferences and say, hey guys, I think maybe we might have gone a little bit too far. And they passed legislation this year to actually make it harder to ban books because it's been so insane. All of these have happened. Almost all of these book bans have happened from under a dozen people in the state of Florida, most of which aren't even parents of kids in the district.
Yeah, no, that's absurd.
Aren't even kids in the district.
That's absurd.
I am grateful to say that here in South Florida, book banning has not been as big of an issue as it has been in other counties across the state. But girl, it's still definitely been a problem.
It's still there.
Which leads me into I want to mention that we are doing a summit actually in Central Florida called the United Voices Summit, where we are going to be gathering teachers and students and community members and activists across the state to push back against the book banning that's happening in our state. Awesome. It's going to be on July 12th and 13th. And on the 12th, there's going to be a reception with a ton of banned book authors like James Ponte, Lauren Groff, Dr. Marvin Dunn, Steve Machek, and Rob Sanders. And so it's going to be killer. So you want to get
Caravan to Central Florida.
Right, let's do it.
So if y'all want to get your tickets, you can look at the events on www.prismfl.org or on penn.org's events.
And get your tickets. That sounds awesome, Maxie. Great job.
And y'all better go.
Yeah, right? So I think somebody should write a book, teach this. And maybe they'll teach it. just saying.
It's just absurd. And a lot of, like Max said, these are not even people with children in public schools.
How are you going to ban Charlotte's Web? How?
Exactly.
Come on.
And when has history ever favored the limitation of knowledge to any one group of people? When does that ever look good in a history book? And just to play a little bit of devil's advocate, which is not hard with this, but even if a book is all about Marxism, well, shouldn't you have a couple of books on Marxism in the library along with kind of every other philosophy
and political education?
Yeah, just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that you shouldn't learn about it.
Learn not to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't do that by ignoring.
Anytime you cut off someone's access to learning about something, it's wrong. We want to teach people to be able to use their own brains and common sense.
It's Fahrenheit
Learn
451.
and then make decisions.
Look, and one last thing, the Scott Maxwell, right? His quote should have just said, quote, stop electing idiots. That's it. Period. End of quote would have been perfect.
But he was asking Florida to stop electing
So he had to be like,
especially to school board.
Yeah. Got it.
Yes.
As a nonprofit LGBTQ plus media organization, we would like to thank our viewers for supporting our mission to tell the stories of the queer community. We also thank the generous support of Jets Pizza. Jets is the LGBTQ plus community's most popular pizza in South Florida.
Take a look around these streets. Do you really think we woke up one day and said, yeah, the world needs more pizza? Nah, just a better one. Better, like the world's best pizza, Jets Detroit-style pizza. Hand-pressed and baked to the thickest, crispiest crunch. You're welcome. Now visit jetspizza.com and save. Click on hot deals for special offers in your area. Jets, better because it has to be.
We are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church right here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we're broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out Television Network. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
We finish tonight's queer news headlines with the segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
In LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News, let's queer up entertainment. LGBTQ plus TV shows farewells in 2024. In 2024, the landscape of LGBTQ plus representation on television is seeing both highs and lows. While the industry witnesses the premiere or return of several inclusive shows, it is also saying goodbye to some beloved series. Unfortunately, queer shows like Young Royals, Star Trek Discovery, The Umbrella Academy, Outlander, Good Omens, You, Elite, What We Do in the Shadows, Arcane, Grown-ish, Sort of, and Good Trouble are airing their final seasons and saying goodbye. I haven't seen any of those. So maybe it is, if FayWhat doesn't see them, then the series get canceled and go away. I'm just saying. I love hacks.
Star Trek, you better come back.
You better come back. Breaking news. I know you was getting canceled. What a way to find out. Okay, I gotta find something else.
I'm solidarity with Faye. I haven't seen a single one of these. So.
Well, you could probably still watch it in syndication.
I already watched the previous ones. I want the new one. Anyway, I gotta find something else to do. LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up drag culture. Rep. Garcia defends drag shows amidst congressional debate. Representative Robert Garcia defended drag shows during a House debate on the National Defense Authorization Act. Garcia highlighted the military's history of supporting drag, noting the Army's use of female impersonators since the 1800s. He remarked, quote, "The army that defeated Hitler included drag queens." He didn't say it like that. The House, narrowly controlled by Republicans, approved the bill with restrictive amendments, but the measures are unlikely to pass the Democrat-controlled Senate.
Speaker, on behalf of the LGBTQ families, gay people who serve in our country, and frankly, anyone who just likes to have fun, I rise in strong opposition to this amendment. Now, we know there are a lot of threats to the health and well-being of our service members. Poisoned water on military bases, toxic mold in military housing, PTSD, and suicide. So I'm stunned to see that a top Republican idea to protect our troops is actually to ban drag shows. Now, Mr. Speaker, my Republican colleagues want us to believe that gays are trying to murder us. They want to believe that drag is harmful or immoral or wrong. This is completely ridiculous. Now, I hate to break it to my Republican colleagues, but LGBTQ people have fought and died for this country since the American Revolution, even if they were forced to hide their true selves. We can document and celebrate drag shows on military bases, and they've been celebrated since the 1800s and through both world wars. The USO and Red Cross hosted drag shows during World War II. The army that defeated Hitler and saved the world included drag queens.
And I stand with him. Book me to perform at any military base. I will show up as long as there is controlled air conditioning. This man is correct. Drag ain't hurting nobody except ourselves because we can't breathe and our ankles hurt. Y'all need to relax on the drag queens for real.
Listen, drag queens have been around since the 1800s. Nothing that has happened on this earth didn't have a drag queen associated to it in one way, shape, or form. Look up your history. Trust. And Robert Garcia, you can get it, cutie. I didn't know you were that cute. What's that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not for me, saying like Bonnie or Max or Mark, but.
Although
definitely not for me.
I think he's going to hear from Jennifer Coolidge's attorneys with that picture. That was the best one you could find of her.
Right.
Really? She's our girl. Come on.
That part.
And honestly, that's why we need to elect more gays to office. But they'll gag you like that, and that's. I need more of that. I need more of that on.
I need more of that.
And the reality is the gays weren't trying to kill Jennifer Coolidge in that show. She just thought they were.
Why did you mess up the ending for people? Why did you mess up the ending for people, Cindy? People get killed for that, you know?
Damn, son.
Not a spoiler alert inside.
Right.
Cindy's like, that show ended a year ago. If you didn't watch it by now, too bad. Right?
All right.
Yeah, Facebook already did all those. So, LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News, let's queer up gay culture. 2 gay Pulse survivors have now launched conversion therapy group. Unlike Fox News, you just can't make this stuff up. 2 Pulse Massacre survivors, Luis Ruiz and Angel Colon, now identify as ex-gays and have started a conversion therapy organization, Fearless Identity. They aim to help LGBTQ plus individuals and the parents of queer children in, quote, seeking the option to change, end quote. The two founders shared their journeys in a recent blog post for Liberty Counsel and are apparently receiving praise for, quote, leaving the homosexual lifestyle, end quote. Every major health organization in the world has said conversion therapy fails and is dangerous. It amazes me, especially two people who went through, that are survivors of the Pulse massacre, that they can't make the connection between conversion therapy and acts like this.
Yeah.
And, there have been a number of ex-gays who, lo and behold, how many years later, you're either a homosexual or you're not.
But
you're either straight or you're not.
We've seen this story a million times.
Of course we have, yeah.
But when gay people first kind of come out, something happens that's traumatic and you go right backwards. I think probably a lot of the people watching this news have been in a situation like that, where you kind of put your foot out the door a little bit, something happened and it slammed and you didn't come back out for another few years. We're just seeing a very, very big version of that with these guys.
Look, there's nothing funny about this, right? To survive something like that, you must go through so much trauma, right? And unfortunately, this screams to me that these two gentlemen have not worked through their trauma. That's what they need to go and talk to somebody, or maybe they're just trying to infiltrate and they're going undercover. You know what I mean? Like that is what I'm really hoping for, because it's just like Cindy said, you are or you're not, and they know in their heart of hearts.
They're going to be harming so many people.
This is clearly a trauma response, and I want to, at this point in time, right now, today, I want to give them a smidgen of grace, because this could be a response to their trauma. I think we should not give them any room to budge. We should give a little bit of pushback, but we're not going to dive in with the names and being overly critical to where we're bashing them. We need to provide love. They need to understand that the queer community is the safe space. They obviously found safety and spirituality in the Lord, and that's not a bad thing. That can be a good thing, but spirituality also thrives in the queer community, and maybe they don't realize that. So this is clearly a response to their trauma, and we need to be ready to receive them back to us with open arms when they're ready.
We're here.
We are here.
And look, we know that conversion therapy doesn't work, and people that do conversion therapy know that conversion therapy doesn't work. That's why when there was a bill earlier this year to try to require insurance coverage for trans conversion therapy, they were like, "Oh, it's not conversion therapy. It's just therapy to make you not trans if you don't want to be trans." Girl, what do you think?
What?
Which luckily, once again, did not pass. But it's ridiculous, right? We know that this does not work. We know that it's harmful to anybody who is struggling with their sexual orientation or coming to terms with their own sexual orientation or gender identity. Know that you are beautiful and gorgeous and glorious and powerful just the way you are, that you do not need therapy to change you, to make you fit into somebody else's mold. Baby, it's your life.
Yeah, right? You need therapy for other reasons, but not for that. What's going on, Max?
All right. Next, LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up the worldview. Thailand Senate passes landmark same-sex marriage bill with overwhelming support. Thailand is set to become Southeast Asia's first nation to legalize same-sex marriage after its Senate approved a marriage equality bill on Tuesday. The bill passed overwhelmingly with 130 senators in favor and only 4 opposed. Supporters hailed it as a, quote, monumental step forward for LGBTQ plus rights, end quote. The bill now awaits the King's endorsement, considered only a formality. It will become effective in 120 days after being published in the Royal Gazette. Ooh, it is so nice to see worldwide queer wins. Yeah. Time and time again, we have seen the marriage equality and all of the things that we hold dear here in the United States spread across the world. I'm so excited to see this, and I'm ready for the rest of Southeast Asia to get along with it too.
Put a little pink flag in every one of those.
Exactly.
Countries. They're adding up over time.
Yeah, it gives us hope though, right? I mean, with so much crap going on in Italy and UK, and against our community, it's wonderful to see a breath of fresh air and go, I mean, I didn't expect Thailand. I didn't, right?
Yeah.
So this is a huge, and this is so empowering to those people there, to the LGBTQ plus people there in Thailand. So congratulations.
And I hope it hits Thailand's checkbook as well. Because we do tend to respond and want to go to places where we know that we're going to be accepted, where we're going to be celebrated, and that just put Thailand on my list. It wasn't
I've
there
been
before.
to Bangkok. I loved it. So go.
I'm not
you heard the lady.
not touching it.
You know what, you guys.
She's so cute.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up courts. Federal judge halts Title IX LGBTQ plus protections in 6 states. A federal judge has temporarily blocked amendments to Title IX that would have increased protections for LGBTQ plus students in 6 states. On Monday, Judge Danny Reeves granted a preliminary injunction for Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia. This follows Judge Terry Doughty's recent ruling blocking the expansion in Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, and Idaho. Whenever you see kind of the sides arguing against this, the irony never escapes me that they're always wanting to talk about protecting children. The other side that doesn't want, the exposure to gay people or gay books and all, it's all to protect children. But when a chance comes up to really protect children, to protect all children, they fight against it.
They step right over it.
I just want to point out that Florida has also filed a challenge against Title IX, but I don't see them on that list. So.
Ooh, and ooh.
And it just keeps on coming.
Yeah.
It really does.
Well, on that note, Max.
All right, that is today's news. We're having for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That's the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I am your incredibly good-looking anchor, Bonnie Builder. And on behalf of these boogers, LGBTQ plus reporters, and the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including FayWhat, Mark Pettitt, Maxx Fenning, Cindy Brown, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you good night.